Using LinkedIn to find distributors and brand representatives has completely taken my Amazon business to the next level. The funny thing is, I learned how to use it completely through trial and error. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use it to take your brand and wholesale aspect of the business to the next level. If you're new here, my name is jayslarosa and I've sold over $1 million in lifetime sales through Amazon. And now I'm here giving it back to you guys so that you can sell your first $1,000 on Amazon. So let's get right into the video. So here we are on the LinkedIn interface. This is where your profile is, and this is one of the most important steps to really make a difference here with your Amazon business. So first thing you want to do is actually set up your LinkedIn profile. Now, many of us are younger, so there's already going to be some skepticism from the potential suppliers or brands, but you just have to eat it. You just have to go on through it, and you know that you will find success with many brands and distributors, and a lot of them won't even look into it, okay? So here I have a proper profile picture, just using a neat picture that you have from in the past, or you can feel free to take one. And then the background, obviously we're a wholesale and distribution company, so you wanna put a picture of a warehouse. This is not, our warehouse. It would be great if it is, maybe one day, but you just wanna have a proper picture of the warehouse. And then feel free to go through all the necessary steps to include your education, a little description, and so on. All right, so once you have that set up, you can create a little bit of a follower base with the people you know, network with some people you know. Now you want to dive right into the fun stuff. So I'm going to do a complete guide on how to utilize this. So you're going to go into your messaging tab, right? Well, we're going to dive into mine first, and I'm going to show you some examples of how the short amount of time and words that you're able to use due to LinkedIn's policies, because now when you want to contact a supplier, you have to send them as a note and you have to add a note, right? So you have to connect with that supplier or representative, whoever it is, and then you have to add a note, and it could be only less than 100 words or 200 words, whatever the requirement is. I think it's even less. So you have to create a really, really concrete script, and I'm going to show you what I use so that hopefully you can trigger a response in those little few words. And for the most part, you're not going to get a response, but it's completely fine, because as you do it with volume, and I'm going to show you how many non-responses I get, it's still going to work out and it's still going to pay off. And feel free to also contact these brands, and maybe you have a better script or maybe a better message that you're going to send to them, where then you can trigger a response and have a relationship with those brands. So we're first going to dive into, like I said, my messaging. So here's a brand here called Yonex USA. It is a sports and outdoors brand. And what I did was I contacted the main brand, which is typically what you're not supposed to do, because you're very, very gonna have a tough time at having a response. Unless there's a customer service representative or somebody to redirect you to the proper contact, you're gonna have a tough time getting a response from a big brand like this, right? So I always kind of go for the brand first, just in luck that someone is in fact managing the profile, and they can redirect us to a smaller representative or such. So this is my script. I've also used like 7 or 8 other scripts, and by time to time I switch it up and keep it and have different variations just to see what's working, because at different times things might be working better than others. But it's important to note that you also want to keep it very personal and kind of like a conversation, because many of these sales representatives are just like you and I, right? They're normal people working for the company, looking to build a book of business under them and have a lot of clients to then grow the company. So you just want to keep it very personal, not too business or not too promising, right? You only have a certain amount of words, so you have to keep it really, really short and sweet. So as you can see here, I have a lot of brands that I've reached out to, like this one, Numedica, and Skag Power Equipment, where I haven't found any success. And these are reaching out directly to the brand. You're almost always going to find success when you're reaching out to a smaller sales representative, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But here's a great example on having a good relationship and contact with somebody. Reached out to a company called Preferred Med Supply, and clearly this is a smaller company because someone directly answered, and maybe the lead of sales there, the head of sales, and just in the company. So it's a smaller wholesaler, smaller brand, and all I messaged was, "Hi, hope to work together in some capacity. Hear back soon." And then he said, "Hello Jay, I'm interested to hear. Do you have time to talk? Give me a ring." This was Mike, and I ended up giving him a ring. I don't want to clear all his information out there, but if you want to talk to him, feel free to give him a ring and see if you can build a relationship. Of course, that's depending on your business and how your business works. But it's as simple as that many times. It's just very short and sweet, because as long as you have a proper profile here and people kind of know who you are within very few minutes, that's why LinkedIn designed this. they understand that, okay, I'm in the business of wholesale distribution, and he wants to build a relationship with me. I want to build a relationship with them because I want to carry their products to then sell, right? So now it's dependent on you how you want to go along that tactic, and whether you want to sell them that you want to sell completely online, or you want to do wholesale distribution through vendors, or maybe open up that part of the business. But mainly, I don't come directly in with the online sales because 99.9% of the time, the vendor or wholesaler is going to completely steer you away. That's kind of little into the messaging part of things and how you should communicate with suppliers. I have tens and 20 of different scripts that I've used and I always use. So doing this, I've been doing it for 2 years now. That's completely changed when I first started. And sometimes I still use my old tactics because I still find success a lot of times, right? Now let's dive exactly into how you can build a relationship with these brands. Now, I don't know for this example if Yonex, because we're going to use Yonex as an example, if they have smaller representatives or sales, but we're going to say Yonex USA company. So they have 4K followers, so a decent sized brand already. You can already tell the size of the brand by just seeing how many followers they have or what their presence is on LinkedIn. Now, you can go to the people section of the brand, which is down a bit, and you can already start seeing people who work for the company. Now, what you want to do is you want to start seeing people who say sales manager or territory sales manager or sales representative. All of those words are really good cues to know that, okay, they work in the sales department and there's an opportunity that either they're the right person to talk to or they can direct me to the right person to talk to. So what I would do is I go directly down here. Feel free to also, do the upgraded version of LinkedIn. I'm not sure the monthly cost. I don't believe it's a lot, but there you're able to do unlimited connects and unlimited messaging. So it's a little bit easier than kind of breaking your back to get into these, into the door with these distributors or brands. But so you can see here, there's number of people, LinkedIn member here, regional sales manager, territory account manager. These are all good words and good cues where you want to contact these people rather than somebody who's just like customer service representative or like warehouse worker, right? Because those won't have they won't have the ability to get you in the door with sales representatives. Sometimes I have funny examples of contacting like a random person at the company or somebody who used to work for the company and they still know people who still work there. So they'll be like, yeah, contact John, and then they'll give me his number. Or like, hey, contact Louis, and then his email will be right here. So it works out as well. You just have to get a bit creative. So obviously to message them, you have to be leveled up and such, and try premium for free for $0 as it says it. But just showing you this, you can see there's tons and tons of people who work at the company, human resources, different departments, right? You want to, like I said, focus on the correct department or the one that's going to be closest aligned with what our goals are. And our goals are to get a wholesale relationship and to buy these products in bulk to then sell on Amazon. Now, the way we angle that and drive that, obviously we're not going to be too direct with it just because of some of the conceptions on it. But, the first step is to get in the door and start that conversation, right? So as I go down here, you can see, listen, there's going to be opportunities or non-opportunities where they don't have an opportunity to message them or connect with them. So unfortunately, you just have to steer past that. I know there's some workarounds that I used to do in the past where you can actually, still click on the member and, contact them and such. But if they don't, it's just kind of an unfortunate situation for now. But as you can see, there's many, many people who work at this company. And when you go to a smaller brand, I don't have an example of a smaller brand right now, but it's a bit harder. Maybe there's like 2 or 3 people to work with the company, but it's even better because they all know each other and it's a strong relationship right off the bat. So you can pretty much get on a phone call right off the bat. Just like, for example, like I showed you this message with Mike. This message with Mike here, like it was, hey, can we work together in some capacity? And he sent me his number, right? And we talked on the phone like the next day, okay? So there's an opportunity to get in the door very, very quickly with LinkedIn and to connect with people and to network with people. So now this is the way you can do it for a brand. Now, the way I've done it for wholesale distributors, it's a bit harder. What I typically do is I'll take the product and I'll put it into Google, right? And the product will come up, right? Whatever the product may be. Let's say one of Yonex's, tennis rackets, and they have distributors all across the US and probably across the world. So you'll put that Yonex, name into Google, right? Yonex tennis racket, and say wholesaler or distributor. As long as you tag those names onto it, the Google search engine will know to then include a wholesale distributor in the search bar. And you'll see maybe 3 to 4 or 5 to 6 wholesalers that pop up, right, from that Google search. So once you get the name of that wholesaler, you want to take that wholesaler and put them into the search bar just as if you would do with a brand. So for example, I know this company just because I have spoken with them in the past, but let's say DDP Medical, which is a medical company, it doesn't really cross over, but let's say they cover our Yonex tennis racket, okay? They carry it, all right? So we want to do pretty much the same exact process as we do with the brand. We want to go to find people who are in the sales department, territory sales, national sales. Honestly, the lower the better, because they actually spark a response much quicker, like sales representative or assistant sales representative, right? Like the lower you get along the totem pole, the better chance you have, because the higher people typically are a bit more busier with other tasks or handling their bigger accounts and bigger relationships. So if you go to find some small people within the sales department, right? Like, okay, Daniel here works in sales. You have the upgraded account. You message Daniel. Shelly here, she works as a sales manager. Perfect. So what I would do is connect with Shelly. So I'm going to send her a note as well. Okay, well, right there I sent without a note, but you want to connect, and you always want to send with a note, because that way you can attach a message. If you don't, you're just kind of connecting. Then you have to hope for them to connect back with you, and then then you can start a messaging and go on and on with them. But if you don't connect with a message, then it's kind of like we're crossing our fingers on how well our profile is constructed, because then they have to trust or have an idea that, okay, maybe I should connect with them because there's an opportunity, right? So we keep going down it. Perfect. Here's a great example. Mary. We're going to add a note to Mary, right? So it's 200 letters, right? So you can tell it's very hard to kind of get your message across in 200 letters. And you want to practice this on Google Docs, create a bunch of scripts, copy and paste them so you don't have to do this every time, and just change the name for every different distributor, wholesaler, brand. And boom. So think about it, guys. If you send out like 5 or 7 of these a day to different distributors or brands that you find from sourcing, so you initially source the product, maybe you have an OA supplier, but now you want to take it to wholesale. You just type this into LinkedIn or Google, you're going to find so much more success than just driving yourself crazy with all these other tactics. Like seriously, I've used this for 2 years, and I haven't even upgraded to the paid version, and I found so much success of LinkedIn. I haven't sent messages. I've done this strictly off of just connecting and adding a note, and then hopefully if the people who don't connect with me, then maybe I recycle it, or maybe I find somebody else within the company for them. But you're going to find so much success just doing literally just this, right? So now, for example, you have a relationship with this brand or distributor, you contact them, you take your communication off of LinkedIn, maybe it's over email, maybe it's over phone, you get a list of their products and pricing, so on, and the rest is history, right? Then now you're building a relationship. And also what's important to know is this can spiral into many, many more relationships through LinkedIn, where if a sales representative leaves this company, DDP Medical, and they go to a new company, now if they work at another wholesale company, you can now build a relationship with that company. Maybe they work in the, beauty care department and rather than the healthcare department. So as long as you're versatile and you're open to selling beauty care, now you can sell, beauty care products because you have a relationship with Mike, who now works for, Jay's Beauty, right? So there's so many opportunities through it. And as long as you build up your profile, invest some time into it, learn it little by little, it's very simple, it's very straightforward. And you just have to kind of do it. You just have to put in the time and the effort. You can book out a day, maybe on a Monday or a Friday, to do this on a weekly basis or a daily basis, depending on how hungry you are or willing you are to do it. And you're gonna find so much success, as I have. And if we go down my messages, like you can just go down and load. It goes all the way back to 2024, 2023, so on. Let's see if we get any 2022 in there. Not really, but you can see all the messages I have with all these different people who are just trying to build a relationship, throwing out the fishing pole, and hopefully we get a response. If not, we're gonna keep on at it, and eventually somebody will respond. All right, guys, now you know how to utilize LinkedIn to then find distributors and brand representatives to now grow your Amazon business. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe so that I can continue to make more content for you guys to start selling on Amazon and start your e-commerce journey. See you for now.